And this week I was in Boston, Lincolnshire, where the highest proportion of people voted to leave the EU. And in a few minutes' time, I'll be putting some of their concerns to the Prime Minister. First, though, let's have a listen to what they had to say. This is Boston in Lincolnshire. For hundreds of years, it stood as the archetypal English town. So quintessentially English, in fact, that 70 years ago it featured in a propaganda film.
Morning, Mr. Drew. How's the market today? Oh, pretty busy. Yes, pretty busy.
The purpose? To explain the changes in the agricultural system for the good of the nation during wartime. And since then, a lot has changed. Immigration grew by a staggering 479% between 2001 and 2014. The average hourly wage here is just £9.13 an hour. That's a full £4 below the national average. And in the EU referendum, more people in Boston voted to leave the EU than anywhere else in the UK. And that is why we're here. That staggering percentage increase in immigration has come largely from Poland and the Baltic states. The reason why so many came here was to work in the farms and the fields of East Anglia that provide the vegetables both for Britain and beyond.
My aunt is here for 4 years and she suggests me to come here because in Poland I haven't got a good job. And like everyone, I need money, and I heard that in your country are better chances for me and for my family. That's why I'm here.
But not all members of the immigrant community were willing to talk to me on camera. And to start with, I had even less luck with the English. In fact, after 24 hours in town, I was drawing a blank. I've talked to a lot of people now in Boston, in the pubs and the cafes. They've been very frank about what they see as the negative side of immigration. And actually, some of their stories are pretty shocking. Fights, drug use. One woman even talked about someone going to the toilet in her front garden. But the thing is, although they're happy to talk about their personal experiences to me, what's really extraordinary, almost unprecedented, is that they won't say any of this on camera. One man who was prepared to talk and explain the reticence of his fellow Bostonians was this one-time taxi driver and UKIP councillor.
The locals will very often sort of say on the quiet, them, foreigners. They don't like to be overheard. They feel a little bit cowed by the sheer volume of them.
So they're worried about reprisals, do you think?
I think they are worried about reprisals, but I think that's more in the mind than actual physical. There's no hate crime in Boston, either way.
It was true that the people were nothing if not friendly, and eventually, at the right time, in the right pub, they began to open up.
The government's going to set us all up to argue.
And at last I heard on camera about the tensions that exist between the two communities.
I feel some of it is along socioeconomic lines due to the fact that there are some people who used to work on the land previously struggle to get jobs now. I hear it regularly that people say, we can't get English people to work on the land. Well, before the Eastern Europeans came, there wasn't a problem. They managed to get the people. Now, English people struggle to get jobs in that sector because Eastern Europeans will either work cheaper or are being exploited by gangmasters.
The reason why the British public voted to leave the EU, predominantly, there's other reasons as well, but predominantly it was, the big box was immigration.
And what do you think of politicians? Do you trust them to deliver Brexit?
No, no. Come and live in our shoes for a week. Come and live down West Street for a week. Come and live in Boston for a week, or any small market town for a week. And then you might just get what the problem is.
By far the highest proportion of people who voted to leave the EU were the over 65s. So what better place to find out if they believe they're getting what they voted for than the Boston Indoor Bowling Club? And what do you want to see happen right now?
Out. Yeah, out altogether. England to rule it all, not the Europeans to keep stepping in and saying you can't do that. Don't do that.
Have you seen any signs of that happening?
Not at the moment, no.
My firm belief is that David Cameron and that had no idea that the country would vote out. And I'd be surprised if there was even discussions of an exit plan. I firmly don't believe there was, which is why we've now got the mayhem that I believe we're in now, and people are trying to scupper at whatever cost.
Yeah. Are you worried about people trying to overturn the vote then?
I think I'd think seriously about voting again if it did get overturned.
In a general election?
In any election.
If Boston's Leave voters believe that nothing's changed, there's a very different feeling among the Eastern European community, where there's already a palpable sense of uncertainty.
England is worried. We don't know how it will go in the next couple of months, couple of years. We don't know how it will go.
I'm afraid something will change and it won't be good changes for us, for immigrants. I hope I will stay in your country, me and my family.
Do you think that some people from Eastern Europe will go back after the referendum vote?
They already are going back. There is a lot of people going still every day. I have someone coming to the office help to get some advice how to close things in the UK before they're going to go. So every day someone is going back.
And is that because they're worried about what will happen work-wise, or because they don't like the atmosphere that's changed?
I think both of that.
More than anywhere, Boston is a microcosm of the rest of Brexit Britain. 6 months on, the frustrations and anxieties triggered by the referendum have never been clearer. I've been really struck by the depth of feeling about immigration in Boston. It's by far the biggest factor in the vote to leave the EU. At the moment, people seem prepared to give Theresa May the benefit of the doubt, but if there's a sense that Brexit is stalling or being delayed, then there'll be a problem.